10 o'clock session. Twin Cities Startup Week at the Twin Ignition Cake House. I've been trying to say that all week and I thought I was going to land it, and clearly I did not, but that is okay. Welcome, guys. I'm so glad that you guys are here. I am very excited to be here, and I'm grateful for your presence. You have no idea what this means to a little black girl from the south side of Chicago who bet all her chips on the fact that she had a dream to start her own business. And to be doing this and take an opportunity to do it is a very big deal for me. So thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. And my name is Octavia Treadway, but everybody calls me Tab, so please call me Tab. I'm gonna do this without the microphone because I am my mama's child. I think I got a big enough mouth to do it. If anybody needs clarification on something, just let me know. I am the Chief Greatness Officer at Your Carrying Something Great. We are in business to support small business, small nonprofit leaders. Our jam is really nonprofit. I was in nonprofit for 20 years before I exited and made the transition to start my own business. So our jam is nonprofits, but we do work with small businesses as well because our focus is social impact. So whether you are a business or a nonprofit, as long as you are interested in making a change in the world, we are here to support you all the way. We have our signature services that we've created all by ourselves. Everything is our own, so we're also very proud of that. We have a service called the Blueprint that helps small businesses that have been in existence for a while make sure that everything they are doing is lined up with their vision and their mission. Mostly because running a small business is crazy, and it's very easy to get off track with your goals, to get off track with your business plan. So with the Blueprint, we come in and we help people make sure that every action in their business can be drawn back up to their vision, mission, purpose, and values. We also have our Be Great program. That is our signature program where we go into a small business or nonprofit and we sit with you for 12 months. And we help you climb out of the chaos of running a small business. What we have found and continue to find is two things. Small business is very messy, and visionaries don't always know how to run a business. And so we want to be there to make sure that small businesses run well. And we also have our program called Program Development and Design. That service allows us to help small nonprofits create fundable programming. When you are starting out, you get your 501c3, especially dependent upon your experience in nonprofits, you don't always know how to create a fundable program. So we go in and we have learned how to ask all the questions that help people create really well-rounded programming. And in addition to that, we also help businesses create participant manuals, program, all the things, collateral to go along with it. So when we leave you, you are ready to make change in the world, because that's what we're all about. But we're here today because a huge part of the mission at Something Great, which we call it affectionately, the huge part of our mission is to be able to really reach that entrepreneur who, to be honest, is never going to come to Twin City Startup Week. We just have access to different communities of folks who just would never even walk in these doors. And I'll be honest, it was kind of hard for me to walk in these doors. I was a little scared myself, but what I know about running a business is you just got to put yourself out there. You just got to be brave. You got to talk yourself into things. I listened to my, my playlist to get me rowdy before I came in here this morning. So you just got to pump yourself up in order to be able to do this thing. But even with that, there are some folks, some communities that just will never come to a Twin City Startup Week. So what we're trying to do, what we have done, is created workshops to go into the community, and we partner with our clients because they have more community spaces to throw these workshops. We have 3 workshops, and our first one that we're going to talk about today is bossUP. bossUP is designed to support new entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship, I'm also working on not saying so y'all stick with me. Entrepreneurship is the craziest thing that you can ever do. But it is also the most rewarding to be able to create your own lane in life. It's just so rewarding. I drive around on weekends when I'm not completely consumed by this business and I see signs on small businesses and I'm like, okay, that person went through what I'm going through right now. Okay, those people went through what I'm going through right now. If they're still here, that means they went through what I'm going through right now. And I want other people to understand that and know that and feel that and believe that. And so bossUP is designed to really introduce new entrepreneurs to what it means to be an entrepreneur and to run a business. This is not about business formation. You can get a lawyer to help you figure out if you need an LLC or an S-Corp and all those things. It's not about business plans. We don't help write business plans. We want you to understand the experience that you're going to have, and that's what we believe sets us apart as Something Great. We are about business experience. Our Be Great program, that's 12 months, we walk through the experience with our leaders of helping them climb out of the chaos and help them run healthy businesses. And so bossUP is about the experience of being an entrepreneur. Today, we're gonna focus on one segment of our bossUP workshop because we only have an hour. We're going to focus on the small business development stages. At Something Great, we promise our clients that if you give us 12 months, we will help you move from one small business development stage to the next. And we have designed what that looks like. We have done study, we have researched the small business development stages from all of the top hitters, your Harvard Business Reviews and Forbes and all those things. And we've created a path to get you from one stage to the next. What are those stages? I'm glad you asked. Because we're about to dive in to bossUP. Can everybody say bossUP?
bossUP.
Okay. I am from the Black church. So if I ask y'all to repeat, it's because I was raised on call and repeat. That's what we do, okay? We talk to each other. So if I ask y'all, that's what I'm doing, okay? So, bossUP, let's talk about it. Small business development stages, what are they? The first stage is existence. The second stage is survival. The third stage is success. The fourth stage is takeoff. And the fifth stage is maturity. Something Great does not focus on takeoff and maturity. So we won't dive into that at all. If you do any further, if you have any further relationship with us, you want to contact with us, we don't work on takeoff and maturity because those are the folks that are, struggling to keep their businesses open and creating healthy businesses. We focus on existence, survival, and success. And today, with the time that we have left, we're going to focus on that first business development stage of existence. These are the three stages that we talked about: existence, survival, and success. Existence is growth achieved through creativity. Survival is growth achieved through direction. And success is growth achieved through delegation. Let's talk about the first stage of small business development. If you Google this, what you will see all over the internet is you will see small business development stages, you will see experience, you will see something around the idea of growth achieved through creativity. You will see something around it. It may be worded a little differently, but that's the concept of the first stage. What we have trouble finding, in order to really help people sit in the experience and navigate through small business development, we have trouble finding this other box. What is the experience that you're going to have in this stage, and what are the challenges that you're going to experience? Let's read through this. The first stage of small business development is existence. The characteristics that define this stage are vision, mission, purpose, values, theory of change, and programs and services. The challenges you're going to experience here are staying encouraged, building without results, constant brain dumping, constant thinking, a lack of a formal business structure, and most importantly, because the money matters, a lack of cash flow. This stage, if you can make it through existence, you can make it to the rest of the stage. What's very important to think about, or to remember, is that these stages can last 12 months. They can also last 24, 36. It all depends on where you are as a business. It all depends on the type of team that you build. It can depend on, what your cash flow is. Some people enter into this stage with more cash flow than others. So that is always helpful in moving your business along and building your business. But this is really important to really talk about and spend some time on. This stage can be daunting. It can be draining. when you're starting something, when you've possibly just left your corporate America job, or you were at a company that was way more established. Moving into entrepreneurship is much more of a mental experience than it is about the business. It's very mental. And I don't know that I'm hearing anywhere where people are encouraging small business owners to stay in the game when you have to build without results. So this is very important to us as we dive in and we sit with our clients. I am actually two things. I am a birth doula. So I sit alongside women during the active labor process until the baby comes. And I actually trained to be a birth doula when I left my nonprofit job. I worked at two of the largest nonprofits in the country. So I just consider it corporate America, because that's what it was. It wasn't really like touchy-feely small nonprofit at all. And so when I left that role, I was trying to figure out what was important to me, and that was women and children. And so the journey to get here has been 5 years, but I wanted to do something immediately to stay busy and to feel like I was, making impact. So I trained to be a birth doula. And what I realized about myself as a birth doula was that I have the ability to sit with people for long periods of time through very hard things. So I am a birth doula, and in this business, I have coined myself as a purpose doula. I want to sit with you. Something Great wants to sit with you as you work to design your purpose, as you work to figure out your purpose. In our actual full-length bossUP course, we talk through vision. The first question we ask, or the first thing we say is, if nobody ever asked you what you want to be when you grow up, that's the question we're asking today. If nobody ever seriously asked you that question, and you were never able to really contemplate it and give it some time, that's the question we're asking today. And there's no wrong time to ask that question. There's never a wrong time to stop what you're doing and decide that you want your life to be completely built around purpose. So that's what I did when I left corporate America. I went and trained as a birth doula, and then I started to understand some more of my strengths that were not present when I was in the office every day, which led me to starting this company and coining myself as a purpose doula. Saying all that because the existence stage can be just as messy as birth. So if no one has ever had any experience with that, that is okay. Take my word for it, it gets messy. Not only am I a doula, but I have 3 sons, so I have gone through it 3 times. And so I understand what it means to be in hard situations and to come through them. Okay, so that is existence. Now what I want to talk to you about is, what does existence look like? What do you need to start a business? The focus of this next segment is really about, you don't need $1 million to start a business. You actually don't even need a bunch of capital. You don't need a bunch of investors. I started this business with $600 and a laptop. When we get a building, that quote is going to go on the wall somewhere because I have said it 100 million times. I started this business with $600 and a laptop. You do not need a large amount of capital to start a business. So the question is always, what do you need? No, that's hard to find on the internet as well. And so we at Something Great, our focus is on people, purpose, and process. And so what we've done is we've taken the time to break down each small business development stage and advise our clients based on the stage they're at what they need in each of those stages. So you'll see here people, purpose, and then our next slide is about process. Let's go back to people and purpose first. So what do you need from a team perspective when you are starting a business? At this stage, you need people who can help you dream, envision, ideate, and document your purpose. Most of your team will be thought leaders. I want to pause there for a second because the first word in our tagline is people. Something Great is all about people. We want people to be cared for. We want people to work for businesses that they care about. And so we want to make sure that when they're in the businesses, that they are being cared for, not only from a personal perspective, but also from a professional perspective. So we've designed a different thought idea around the types of leaders that every organization needs. The first leader is the thought leader. That's the person, those are the people that are going to be responsible for that business plan being executed. At this stage, those are the people that are going to help you dream and envision and ideate and actually pull that business plan together. The next level of people in every organization, we call them champions. These are the folks who are aware of the business plan, but they're not responsible for it. What they are responsible for is the day-to-day in the organization, and they know the people. So thought leaders should never make a move without checking into the champions, because the champions understand progress, they understand where the business is, and they can help you understand where your business can go based on the people that you have on your team. The last segment of people in every business is going to be your impact staff. Why do we call them impact staff? Well, first of all, it's because we focus on social impact organizations. So impact means everything to the work that we're doing. But another reason we call them impact staff is because these are your folks who are actually boots on the ground, bringing your vision to life and making it happen. They also really carry and manage the level of impact that you are able to make in the world. The thought leaders could be in the boardroom making plans, and the champions could be on their laptops signing payroll, and the impact staff are at an event and somebody has a bad day and they cuss out an attendee. It happens, right? This is life. These things happen. What has now happened? The level of impact that you were going to be able to make at that organization or with those people has lessened because your impact staff. But they also hold the ability to help you make great impact, right? It's not just about the mistakes that they make. Those are the people that are boots on the ground, connecting with people, knowing people's names every time they go into a space, learning things that matter to the people that you are trying to serve or support with your organization. So we call them impact staff. What is very important about this structure is that unlike corporate America, it's not about checks and balances. Every person in your organization can be a thought leader. We were with a client the other day, and it was one of the most rewarding sessions that we had because we were walking through people stuff and making sure that their recruiting process was outlined well and that they knew the questions that they were going to be asking in the process. And the CEO decided, the executive director decided to bring his team into the room. And when they came into the room, we all started talking about, like, are these good questions? And they were like, well, you really need to ask this type of question because that's really what we experience when we are on the street making impact. So good leaders understand that every person in their organization is a thought leader. Something Great lives by it. We want everybody in the room, we want to hear what everybody has to say. Is that going to be completely reasonable as we grow and have more people? No. But what is going to be important is that your thought leaders and your champions are keeping really good conversations going with impact staff to make sure that they can keep the right people in the right rooms to keep the business moving forward. So that was very long for team structure. The other ones will go a little quicker. So for people at the development stage, development is how you take care of your people. Create a collaboration chart that represents your need for the next 2 years so you're ready for the survival stage. Consider how to help your team be effective with an emphasis on wellness. Before we do anything at Something Great, we focus on health and wellness with our team members. We have our quarterly strategy sessions, which we have one coming up. And the first question we ask ourselves in that meeting is everybody okay? Let's have that conversation for the first half of the day to make sure that we are connecting with people, we're taking care of people, everybody's health and wellness is at the forefront of everything that we're doing. We focus right there. And then when it talks here about a collaboration chart, it's our version of a org chart. But we call it a collaboration chart because, again, we're trying to move away from the traditional corporate America concepts of things. So we call it a collaboration chart because we want to put emphasis on the idea that everybody on this chart has to work together on some level. The next thing we're going to talk about is purpose. What do you need in regard to your purpose at the existence level of small business development? Theory of change. We focus on social impact organizations, so theory of change is a big deal. What do you believe, if it happens in the world, is going to make change in the world? So Something Great believes that if a business lets us come in and they give us 12 months, we will move their business from existence to survival or from survival to success, therefore creating a huge impact on their company and reducing that ridiculously large rate of small businesses that fail within the first 2 to 5 years. That's our theory of change. Give us a company, we'll give them our Be Great program, and they will stabilize. What is the change that you want to make in the world? So in this phase, all you're doing around that though is developing your theory of change. Consider the minimum viable approach to the change that you can craft. You can't change the world until you change the block. That's another SG quote. As entrepreneurs, we are visionaries, so we think big. And part of what we're trying to get our entrepreneurs to do here is to focus on the change that you can make right away, and then build on that change and create more change that you can make right away, and then build on that change, and then create more change that you can make right away. Starting big and failing, number one, is okay, but starting big and failing can also be extremely deflating. So we want folks to focus on what is the change that you can make in small increments to actually focus on that big impact that you want to make. And then the next one is impact. Start to develop your plan for your products, services, or programs. So that's what we help folks do in our program development and design service. We start to ask all the questions that help people really get down to the bottom of why they want to make the change, what kind of change they want to make, their niche, if you will. I'm not super niche focused, but having focus in any business is extremely important. The last piece of this three-pronged approach is process. So we have people, and we have purpose, and now we have process. Process is what makes us as Something Great excited. We are operations folks. All of our backgrounds are in operations. So when you start to talk about a plan or a process or a system, we light up. We like to see things move from one space to the next and how it's all connected and how it works. And if it didn't work, what did we miss to not make it work and all the things. And so obviously we have to be very careful with our time because our meetings can go forever and ever because we will deep dive into the process. Oh, we got a client this one, we gotta go. So that is what we love to do. Process as Something Great in the small business development stage of existence. We have defined as budget, business plan, and strategic plan. The budget, this phase is focused on grant writing if you're a nonprofit, grants and loans if you're a for-profit, grants focused on operations, infrastructure, capacity building, take a free grant writing class, find some free accounting support. What's really great about the Twin Cities is there is so much support for small businesses. There are so many organizations to reach out to. No matter who you are or what you're doing, there are businesses focused on helping women start small businesses, the BIPOC community, the list goes on and on. So do not feel like you have to take this on by yourself. There is so much help here in the Twin Cities, which is why we're here today, Twin Cities Startup Group. That's also an amazing resource that everybody doesn't have. So this is a really great area to be an entrepreneur. I'm actually from Chicago, and I'm pretty sure doing this in Chicago would take more work than doing it in the Minneapolis area. And then there's the business plan. Now, Something Great does not focus on writing a business plan, but we understand its importance in the existing stage. Writing a business plan prompts you to plan your business in a comprehensive way. Business plans help set the tone for overall business success, related to need and location. And the list goes on and on. which is why there's a comma and no words behind it, but that's okay, we'll fix that later. But it's gonna set the tone for all of your needs as a small business. It's also gonna give you a compass. We all need to have focus and know where we're going. And so a business plan should be the compass for your organization. And then there's a strategic plan. That's where we get excited. How are we gonna make it all happen? Here's where you begin the process of regular planning in your company for every area of your company. At Something Great, we have quarterly planning sessions, and then we have our annual planning session to help make sure that we have stayed on track. I fully, wholeheartedly believe that our planning is what has helped us grow at the rate that we've been able to grow. We make time to plan. We make time to think about everything that happened last quarter, what was good about it, what was bad about it, how can we build on it, should we just throw it away and start over because it did not work and it got on all of our nerves, all the things. We sit down and we talk about it all to make sure that we learn lessons from every single step along the way in this journey. And that is what's so important about entrepreneurship. None of it is a waste of time. Whether it worked out well, whether it was horrendous, whether 50 people signed up for your startup week event and 12 people showed up, none of it is a waste of time. It is all such good experience for not only building your business, but also developing yourself. So, if anybody has any questions, I am very much let's talk about it back and forth. Does anybody have any questions? How can we help you? If not, we'll jump into one last segment of the presentation. But I just said a lot. So, does anybody have any questions before we move forward? Yes.
Where do you see your biggest steps from getting people to the different transition? Like, where is a lot of your focus there of getting into new starting companies, and what do you see as the biggest hang up when you're going in and helping these organizations?
Yep, so two things. I'll answer that from two perspectives. One from our perspective, and then the other from the folks that we work with from their perspective. From our perspective, it was our Be Great program is our big seller. And so we have 12 months to go into the business and help them climb out of the operational chaos and then help them help them stabilize their organization. And we realized very early on that we needed more quickly to build relationships with the leadership. So I took for granted, anybody heard of Gallup strength tests? Anybody taking your Gallup strength test? Okay, so I kind of live by those. My 5 strengths are responsibility, belief, and then the last 3 are connector, relator, and individualist. So I'm like, I got this. Put me in the room. I'm gonna get everybody. I'm gonna know you, where you're from, how you got there, where you're going, what you like, your favorite ice cream. Just give it to me. I got it. And then I very quickly realized that was a huge undertaking to be able to add to the limited 12 months that we have for our program. So what we did was we developed an onboarding process 6 months in advance, and we partnered with one of our really good friends. Her name is Lotus Wilson. She is a neuro-linguistic practitioner. And so she has a series of assessments that she does to get to know people better, and then she sends me a report and she's like, this person is a visionary, so no matter, this person is a futurist, so no matter what you talk to them about today, they're not paying no attention to you. So all of your responses and questions, you need to phrase like you're talking to a futurist, right? And the list goes on and on and on. So that was one of our biggest hang-ups in the very beginning. And then from the client perspective, the biggest hang-up is people. Entrepreneurs, visionaries, creatives don't always know how to lead people. So I was going into spaces thinking like, oh, they got this, it's good. Like, you just tell me what's going on in your organization. Well, we were a little smarter than just to believe that, right? So we do have a team assessment that we do at the very front when we're trying to get to know people. And I sit with the leaders for a while, and they're like, oh, here's what's going on. We just need you to help us do this. That's all. You help us do this, we get out of here. No big deal, right? And you're in and out 12 months. And then I went to talk to the team, and the team was like, we don't know where they work, but that's not what's happening at this organization. And so not only from a business perspective, but just from a people care perspective, from a health and wellness perspective. Most people feel overworked. Most people feel under-recognized. Most people feel like they actually have no idea what's going on in the organization, and they just come there every day, they work, they go home, they get their check, and then it just becomes this rhythm of doing the same thing over and over again. And it's not because the leaders are not well-intended. That's not the case. But everybody doesn't know how to lead people well. Some people still think that the old school management is leadership. It's not. You really have to take the time in 2023 to get to know people, to understand their needs, to understand what makes them tick, to understand what makes them great. Everybody's greatness is different, and when you do things like Gallup Strength Test, you'll be able to see how everybody can work together to be effective. But I have come to realize that these are not concepts that naturally fall on people's brains, especially when you are starting out in entrepreneurship, because you are like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Why did I make this decision? It feels crazy. I should just go back to the people that have a budget so they can just pay my check every 2 weeks, so I can just pay my bills every month. And like, you don't realize how much, and maybe you do realize it, but how much stability and value and all of the things that you get from being in those spaces. And when you leave those spaces, I'll speak for myself, I had to redefine my value. I left corporate America because I do not have any college, none whatsoever. So I have built a career over the last 25 years based on being an eternal learner. I just love learning. I love learning. I love figuring out things. I love figuring out all the things that other people don't want to figure out. I also like doing the things that other people don't want to do. Let me do it. I'll figure it out. And so, but that became exhausting. It became exhausting trying to continually prove my worth over and over and over again to other people. And so I decided when I left that I would never let anybody else value my worth based on a salary. That was how I felt. I kept trying to climb to like this number. And even when I got to the number, first of all, y'all, the number was great, okay? The number was amazing. The way my bank account was set up, I was hyped. It was coming in regular, and my family was good, and I have 3 boys, and now they are all in high school and up, but there's needs, and our families, we gotta take care. It was fabulous, and so when I left my job, it drastically changed our family. So not only was I trying to redefine my value, but I was also like, shoot, what did I do? And because somehow my husband and I have raised children that are very outspoken and will share their thoughts with us, my kids was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, but I'm trying to find purpose. And they're like, but I want these shoes, or like whatever. I want to go hang out with my friends, and I want to do all this. And I'm like, but I'm trying to find purpose. What's been great about it though is that it has changed the way our family moves. Purpose has become so important to everybody in our family now. To the point where we had a really huge win at the beginning of this summer. My 16-year-old was looking for a job. He probably started too late, and he called me and said, Mom, you have a company, why don't I just come work for you? Wow, that is amazing. If I was still in my old job, he would have not been able to ask me that question, and I would have not been able to support him. So it's a very big deal to make sure as leaders that we are aware of who our people are and what our people need, and that we're taking care of them, and most importantly, that we're putting health and wellness at the forefront of every single thing that we do. Any more questions? Nope? Okay. The last thing I want to talk to you about is planning with our last couple of minutes. So, and we might end a little early because I do feel like I'm talking really fast, but it's okay. Is planning. I cannot stress enough how important it is to plan in your startup. It's just, and it may even be daunting. We have 3-day quarterly planning sessions, and by the end of those sessions, we are done. Like, I don't want to think, I don't want to talk to anybody, I don't even want to see my kids. Like, it's a lot. I don't want to do anything. but it has proven itself to be the most effective thing that we do in our organization. Where do we start? Big picture strategic planning for the organization. This is the stage of planning where each thought leader, champion, and impact staff should inform and shape the planning of the organization. Remember, we are in the existence phase, right? So you may not have champions and impact staff yet. You may not have those folks. But your thought leaders should be meeting regularly to plan what's going to happen in your organization. The smaller you are, the less clients you have. I would encourage you to do that regularly. You can always come back to your big picture planning. We now do this annually because we have started to build and we've created revenue and we have clients and all those things. So we have to, we don't get the chance to zoom out as much as we would like to. And also, I'll say this, the big picture plan is a little scary because we plan so much. We have yet to have a quarterly session that reflects what we talked about in our last quarterly session. So when we get to this big picture plan at the end of the year, I don't even know that it's gonna reflect the list that we created at the beginning of 2023. It's gonna be so different. So scary in a sense of like, where do we even start? Because we just gotta rip that up and really start over. But do it. It is just as important as the business plan. The business plan is important. It is your compass. The strategic plan is important. It's the how. It's how you're going to get there. And if you don't know how you're going to get there, then you just circle. You just circle the way. So what is big picture planning? What we do at Something Great is we focus on company, people, we focus on marketing, we focus on processes, systems, and we focus on making sure that, I lost the last one. We focus on making sure that you have a plan for moving forward, is what we focus on. So, it's really informal actually. We just kind of make a list of like all the thoughts that we have. We have a shared document where everybody goes in and they identify the things that have been important to them over the time since we last met. And then we go in and refine it. But it's really informal. It's sitting down, it's lots of snacks and eating and chatting and conversations until we come up with a really formal direction that we want to take. And then our quarterly plan is just that. It's doubling down on everything that we talked about in those sessions and making sure that we are sticking to a course of action that is going to create progress. That's what the quarterly planning is about. I also like to talk about strategic planning a lot too because it's like this weird business concept that does seem really scary, like what is strategic planning? Strategic planning is sitting down and making sure that the goals you created have a how and a why and how you're gonna get there. That's all it is. And that's what we try to do at Something Great is take these really big business concepts and break them down into really practical application so that your regular Joe Schmo entrepreneur can run his business. I had a conversation with a gentleman at a networking event about a month ago, and he actually attended our first bossUP class. But when I talked to him, he was terrified about entrepreneurship. Not just your regular, like, scared, like, why am I doing that? He was terrified about entrepreneurship. And he's like, well, I'm watching MSNBC regularly, and I'm looking, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, that's not us. That's them. That's the big people with the big wallets and the big bank accounts. That's not us. And I told him, I said, if you come to bossUP, what we're gonna do is take those really big concepts and break them down to a level that they make sense for where you are as a person and where you are as a business leader. So that's why we talk a lot about strategic planning so that people aren't scared of it anymore. And then weekly planning should ensure that the intentional steps and necessary inputs are happening. We have a weekly agenda where we go through, everybody understands what they have been assigned, there are no surprises to that, and then we just talk through, where are you, how can we help each other, do you need support from somebody else in the organization, have you tried to get support from somebody else and that support has not come through in the way that would be helpful to you. So we have all these conversations each week and check whether each initiative is on track or off track. That's how we start the conversation. And if you're on track, then okay, when do you see yourself finishing? If you're on track, how can we help you and support you in that? And then daily execution is the practice of supporting your team to ensure that they are well and equipped to be effective, right? The day-to-day journey of leadership, the day-to-day journey of entrepreneurship looks different every single day. That's actually what I like about it, is that it's different. I never know what kind of day I'm gonna have. I never know what I'm gonna run into. Going into other people's spaces, which we do with our clients, makes it even more adventurous. Sometimes, like I said, small business is messy. And humans are messy in general, so none of it is perfect. So I can go into spaces thinking like, yeah, we're gonna rock this strategic plan conversation today, and come out 3 hours later, only having been focused on the personnel issue that they were having that they did not know how to manage. And we build that into our 12-month process as well, so we don't get off track, and so people actually get the results that they're looking for from our team. Ladies and gentlemen, that is bossUP. That is it. I am still here. If anybody has any questions, I know some folks came in late. We will upload the presentation to make sure that you guys have access to it. There are so many gems in this presentation that we did not even have a chance to get to in this hour. And also our contact information and everything will be in there. We do provide one-on-one business development and leadership coaching. So if you if that sounds interesting to you and you'd like to reach out to us, my amazing executive administrative assistant Shakidra is here, and she can give you any information that you're looking for on the business, and also for you to be able to connect with us. So that's it, guys. The next full bossUP event is September 28th. You can actually come up here and scan the QR code, and it will take you to the Eventbrite if you want to sign up for that event. We'll have our full time, so we'll be able to focus on all the things. And even in those events right now, we don't get to focus on everything, but what you do get in that event is you get our bossUP workbook. This workbook is amazing. And it is something that you'll be able to take with you for a while on your entrepreneurship journey. So there's so much information we want to share with everybody. If you're interested, like I said, you can talk to Shakidra. You can come check out the flyer. You can scan the QR code. We also sell purpose merch. So I have the shirt on today on the back that says, "Dear person behind me, you are carrying something great." So we have all types of fun, inspirational stuff on our website if you guys would like to purchase that as well. So thanks, guys.